Ever since Donald Trump met with Vladimir Putin to discuss an end to the war in Ukraine, the United States appears to have fast-tracked ceasefire efforts, calling on both Russia and Ukraine to get the deal done. According to reports, the US has proposed a UN resolution on the Ukraine war that omits any mention of Kyiv's territory occupied by Russia. Washington's proposal comes amid an intensifying feud between Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. This proposed resolution appears to rival a separate draft resolution produced by Kyiv and its European allies. The Ukrainian-European text blames Russia for the invasion and commits to Kyiv's territorial integrity. It demands an immediate and unconditional withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukraine. On the other hand, US-backed proposal's text reportedly calls for a swift end to the conflict, without mentioning Kyiv's territorial integrity, and it was welcomed by Moscow's ambassador as a good move. Ukraine and European allies say that they have been sidelined out of the talks between the US and Russian officials. But Trump has now said that both Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin will have to get together to end the war.
I think that President Putin and President Zelensky are going to have to get together because, you know what, we want to stop killing millions of people. You have young soldiers being killed. If you saw the pictures that I saw of the battlefield from satellite, you've never seen any pictures like that. Soldiers are being killed by the thousands a week, thousands of soldiers a week. As we speak, they're being killed. That's why I want to see a ceasefire and I want to get the deal done. I think we have a chance to get the deal done. I had to make sure that Russia wanted to do it.
While discussions between Russia and the US are at a very early stage, one idea that's reportedly being floated is that Russia could propose using frozen reserves for rebuilding Ukraine as part of a possible peace deal. According to a Reuters report, Moscow could agree to using $300 billion of sovereign assets frozen in Europe for reconstruction in Ukraine, but will insist that part of the money is spent on the one-fifth of the country that Russian forces control. Both parties appear to be taking steps to get closer to a ceasefire. Trump has also said that they are pretty close to reaching a deal with Ukraine, which will allow the US access to the country's rare earth minerals in exchange for continued military aid.
How close are you to striking a minerals deal?
I think we're pretty close, yeah. I think they want it, and they feel good about it, and it's significant, it's a big deal. But they want it, and it keeps us in that country, and they're very happy about it. But it's we get our money back. This should have been signed long before we went in. This should have been signed by Biden, but Biden didn't know too much about what he was doing. The war should have never happened.
Zelensky said that during his nightly address that his government is working with the United States on a draft agreement aiming to strengthen weakening relations between the two countries. As Washington presses Kyiv to sign the minerals deal, Zelensky has said that he hopes for a fair result. But Donald Trump says that Ukraine has no card to play with. Now, these developments point to a possibility that Trump and Putin are likely to attempt to reach a ceasefire agreement soon. On April 20th this year, both Orthodox and Catholic churches will celebrate Easter, and that could be a significant day to enforce a truce. Another probable date is May 9th, when Russia commemorates the Victory Day, marking the USSR's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. But Ukrainian military intelligence has claimed that Russia is instructing its propagandists to declare victory in the war much earlier on February 24th. That day will mark the third anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine. Our correspondent Anas Malik has been in Ukraine for the last couple of days, and he's sent us this report from Kyiv.
The comments by the US president that he does not feel it essential that President Zelensky of Ukraine should be part of the negotiating table has not been welcomed, and in fact there is a lot of critique with regards to this statement and on US foreign policy at large here in Ukraine. The Ukrainian government officials maintain that any deal without Ukraine on Ukraine will not be acceptable, neither it will be a binding, and that the response of European allies would be quite decisive when it comes to the comments that have been made by US President Donald Trump. It is also very important to note the fact that the French President Emmanuel Macron and the UK Prime Minister will be meeting President Trump next week at the White House, and what they have to say with regards to such statements that are being considered provocative will be very important and something very closely watched out here in Ukraine. Anas Malik in Kyiv in Ukraine for WION, World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.